This review is of a machine from the materials handling sector. It's a tailor machine which has something to do with faith, vision and work. And looking at the box we can see it's an XH-360L heavy duty forklift. So it's one of the more unusual models to be seen. It is in the scale of 1 to 50, and if we look underneath the box we see that it's made by Weiss brothers. Something slightly odd about it is that the box lists it as model 032, but actually it seems to have a model number of 033, and the sticker at the end shows us that. This is the version in company colours. Over to the cranes etc. weighbridge we go, and it's nearly 14 ounces, which is 390 grams. So that's the box. Let's open it up and see what's inside. As usual, it's the usual pair of trays, and they are marked top and bottom, so that's helpful. And once again, the well-used knife is there to cut the factory tape. Once we've done that, we can separate the trays. And there's the model protected by soft paper. So all we have to do now is to carefully take the model out. And actually, there's no assembly to do, because it's complete out of the box. However, this model has travelled halfway around the world and back, and the box has had a few bumps on the way. So there are a couple of minor fixes to do. One is to fix on the hydraulic rams above the cab, and also the big air intake needs to be refixed. A touch of our old friend Super Glue does the trick, and we can now check out the weight of the complete model. And it's a bit over 10 ounces, which is a nice round number of 300 grams. We start underneath the forklift, and there is some modelling of the front axle, with most of the underneath of the model being a simple base plate. The rear axle and steering is also modelled, and there are nice tyres. At the back there are some Taylor graphics, and the model does have a very high standard of detailing with some very nice mesh work. There's also a formed grille. The realism of the model is enhanced by the graphics, and there are plenty of tiny ones. There are also various textured surfaces. The rear wheels have got some decent detailing, and the front wheels are of a different design which also looks very good. There's detailing on the wheel arches, and there are textured steps leading up to the cab. Various other components also add busyness to the detailing. The mast is supported by some struts at the back, and these also have graphics applied. The standard of the very tiny graphics is also high, and even though they're very tiny, they do add significantly to the realistic look of the model. Looking at the roof of the cab, and there's an exhaust and air intake on each side, and there also seems to be what looks like an air conditioning unit. There's also a full see-through glass roof. The mirrors on the side of the cab are made of soft plastic, and it's always good to see that mirrors have properly silvered surfaces. The structure of the cab door is fully replicated, and looking inside the cab, it's nice to see that there's a fully textured floor. The seat and controls are modelled too. The two-stage mast has a metal lower section and a plastic top section. The full cable systems of the real machine are not modelled, presumably because of the small scale, but there are more small graphics applied to the mast. The carriage has got modelled hydraulic rams, and the forks are made of metal. Back we go under the forklift, and the front wheels spin freely, and the individual wheels on the rear axle turn too. Engineered really well is the rear steering with its very tight angle that can be achieved. Out onto the cranes etc. test track, and rolling along is very nice, and it feels well engineered. Let's apply the steering to a very tight angle, and you can see that it can steer very tightly. The model looks very good when posed this way. A nice feature is that the cab has opening doors on both sides, and they open to a 90-degree angle. If you're not small enough to climb in yourself, you can at least get a good look at the inside of the cab. And if you don't like comments like that, then shut the door on them. Turning to the forklift action, and the angle of the mast can be adjusted, and the rams that control it are stiff enough to hold any pose. Another area of adjustment is the forks, and they can be closed right up, or you can separate them right out. So you can adjust them to suit the load that you want to carry. In terms of lifting, the carriage can go to the top, and it will hold any pose in between. And if you want some super reach, the whole mast telescopes with its second section. And again, it's pretty good at holding a pose. Let's now go forward with the genuine imitation real-life test. If you want another realistic pose, you can use the giant squeezy truck mixer. And again, the forklift is ideally suited to lifting such a load. Alternatively, even more realistic is the squeezy locomotive. And again, the Taylor forklift easily handles it. But if you want to go for something even more realistic, it's very good at lifting a giant orange. It's good to see a model of a heavy-duty forklift truck, and Weiss Brothers has produced a high-quality replica. It has a very high standard of detailing, and where plastic is used, it is appropriate. The functionality also enables the model to be posed in different ways. Overall, this is an interesting model which is rated as excellent.